Hi, today we're going to show you how to install OpenCart. The requirements for this lesson are that you have a hosting provider and that the hosting provider has access to cPanel in the back end to manage your website. We chose cPanel because it's the most popular way to manage your website, and 99.9% of hosting providers will give you access to cPanel to manage your website. Okay, so once you've registered your domain, you've got your hosting provider, they've sent you through the details, you should be able to log into a screen pretty similar to this. First thing we need to do to install OpenCart is to actually set up a database for OpenCart to run off. So if we scroll down here, we'll see that cPanel allows us a little application called MySQL Databases, and we click on that. We come up to a create database input here. Let's just call this database OpenCart. You'll notice that they prefix our database name with, generally speaking, our cPanel username. It's alright, we just have to put in what we want there. We go create database. It's successfully created a database for us called, in this case, my username underscore OpenCart. Now we need to create users for that database. If we go down here, we can create a user for the database. Again, it doesn't matter what you call this as long as you remember it. We're going to use the same name as we did the database, and the password we're just going to say OpenCart as well. So what we're doing here is we've already got a database called z8ball underscore OpenCart. We're creating a user, z8ball underscore OpenCart, and we're creating a password that's just called OpenCart. Finally, we need to give that user access to the OpenCart database, and we do this down here, add user to database. It's asking us what privileges we want this user to have over the database. In the case of OpenCart, we're going to give them all privileges. And that's it. We've set up our database, we've created a database, we've created a user, and we've given that user all the privileges they need to work on that database. We can now proceed to actually installing OpenCart. So if we click back on our home, we'll see that down here there's a section called Files. It allows us to work with files on the server. We're going to use an application called File Manager. Similar to what we would see in our operating system File Manager, we have a web-based File Manager here. By default, our domain's got some files in there, which we can see when we look up our domain. We can see that they've just put some placeholder files here for us. We don't need these anymore, so we can select both of them and click delete. Now if we go to our domain, we'll see that it's an empty folder. We need to upload OpenCart, but before we can do that, we need to actually download it from the source. So if we go to opencart.com, you'll see here there's a download link. If we scroll down, there's a list of downloads available going back a number of years. We want to find the most recent version, which will always be at the top. We click download. We save it in our system. Remember where you saved it. We'll need to upload it in a second. Shouldn't take very long for this to download. Now if we go back to our file manager, we're in our directory. The directory is empty because we just deleted the placeholder files. We're going to choose to upload. We're going to choose the file to upload. And the upload started. We can see down here it's showing a percentage of the upload. Now this may take 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so we bit of time warp there to the end of the upload, so we didn't have to sit through that. We can see that the upload's completed. We just go back to our file manager here, and we can see that the OpenCart zip file is up now in our domains directory. If we load up there, we can see the zip file. So now we need to extract this zip file. We can use a tool over here called extract, and we're going to extract it. Won't take very long. And now we've got the zip file and the extracted files in a folder there. We need to go into this folder, and you'll see that they've placed all the required files in a folder called upload. The other documents here are not required. They're just some instructions, some license stuff, and if you're upgrading from a previous version of OpenCart, some text to read there. So all three of these files are not required. We can actually delete them. We go into our upload folder, and these are the files that we actually need. So what we want to do here is select all these files and drag them across here to our public HTML directory. This is the directory that people see when they go to our website. So we're going to drag these across here. We've now, if we go into our public HTML directory, we see all those files we just dragged across, plus we see the zip file we uploaded, and the directory that used to contain those files we just copied across. So if we go in here now, we see the upload directory, but there's nothing in it. So we can actually just delete that entire folder now. So now we're left with the required files and the zip file. Now it's up to you if you want to keep the zip file up there. It doesn't hurt, there's no problem with it. You might want to just keep it all clean and delete it. So we'll go and do that. And now we have everything we need to get going with our OpenCart install. The first thing we want to do here is just rename config-dist.php. We just want to rename that to just config. And we want to go into our admin folder here and do the same. Okay. Now we've got all our required folders. We've renamed the couple that we needed. Now we can go back to our domain. If we hit refresh, what we're going to see is the OpenCart installation wizard. This is the license, the OpenCart GNU General Public License. Read through it if you feel like. If not, just click on the I agree to the license and continue. This is important. This is a sort of requirements screen that hopefully, especially if you're using HostGator, you should have all green down the side here. If you have any red, you need to rectify it. Generally speaking, a reputable hosting provider like HostGator, you will have all green here. If you choose the absolute cheapest hosting provider you can find for maybe only a couple of dollars a month somewhere, you may end up with some red here and not be able to install OpenCart. So I suggest you use someone reputable. We've all got green all the way here. We've renamed those files as required. You can see that here. We did that just before. So we're ready to go and click continue. Now we need to put in the information about the database that we set up at the beginning. We're using MySQL. It's the only option available. Our host is our web host, and now we refer to that as localhost. So we'll just keep it at localhost. Now if you remember the user we set up, in this case, was the 8ball_OpenCart. Now you need to make sure, you might have to go back into your database settings here if you've forgotten, and scroll down here. You can see the database that you created. You can see the user that you created. So that's the user we've created earlier. Remembering the password, we just set it to OpenCart. and the database name. You can scroll back there. There's our database. OpenCart. Now if you plan to install more than one OpenCart installation in your web hosting environment, you want to probably keep the database prefix here. It's a way that the system can use one database but keep multiple instances of OpenCart running. If you're only going to run one OpenCart installation on the web host, you can delete that. But by default, you might as well just leave it there. All right. Next, we're going to go down here and we need to create an admin user, password and email. So we'll keep it at admin to keep it simple. We'll keep the password. We'll just call it OpenCart. So we've got same password as our database, and we're just going to set up an email. We'll just call it test@test.com. Obviously, you would place your own email address in there. We now click continue. Now we're finished. We're ready to go. But there's one little warning here it's given us, is that we need to delete the installation directory. This is very important. So we go back to our file manager. We'll notice that all those files we copied across are here, neatly organized, and there's one folder called install. That's the directory it wants us to delete. So we're just going to go delete, making sure that it's the directory that we want, and we're going to delete those files. Now we've got an option. We can go to the front of the store, or we can go to our admin panel. We're going to go to our admin panel. You can see that this is our domain with admin appended to the end of it. Using the credentials that we just created, username admin and password OpenCart, we can now log into our admin panel. Now to see the front of the store, we can just click this button over the right here, and that'll load up the front of our store. So there you have it. We've successfully installed the OpenCart e-commerce platform, database, the files, and everything required in the OpenCart installation wizard. It's pretty simple. Good luck.